Today, we're going to share some tips and some best practices on how to design for digital. Welcome to the weareslam show, a show where we share marketing trends, best practices, and ideas to help your business grow. And today, I have with me Whitney Brockman. She is our art director here at Slam Agency. And today we're going to share some tips and some best practices on how to design for digital.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Fun
Happy
stuff.
to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Great.
is the type of stuff that Whitney does day in and day out for Slam and for our clients. And so I'm really excited because this is going to be some good information that you can use immediately. You can take back to your teams, to your agencies, and you can get some good work done. So Whitney, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
So today we're talking about best practices for designing in digital. And more than anything, we have to realize that print and digital are two completely different things. Print in many cases is still relevant, but most of the design work is going digital at this point. So let's talk about what's the big thing that people should keep in mind.
So traditionally, the clients that I'm working with have been more towards the print side of design. And it's been interesting to have them translate what they've been doing in print to digital because it is dramatically different. There are limitations, there are, restraints that you can't necessarily, it doesn't translate in digital world. And you really have to grab the attention of the viewer. And when I am given tasks and projects to work on, I really have to think about the big picture. So what's the goal? Who's gonna see this? Who's this for? And if it's a campaign, when is it gonna end? So I can figure out the best way to get the most attention and engagement right off the bat.
And that big picture is important because with print, like a magazine ad or something like that, you're designing it, it's going through several different stages of iterations of, process.
Yes.
Might take a few weeks or a month to design, going back and forth with the client.
Right.
And then at some point in the future, like you see it in a magazine, and that's that, right?
That's that, yeah. You can't, if you see it once, you can't necessarily go back and find it through all your magazines. But on social media, it is interesting because if you remember an ad, you can easily go find it. With a lot of campaigns, you're going to have multiple ads on multiple platforms. So you can do those ads targeting your audience and, they're going to see that over and over again, which is really great. And that's why you have to think about the big picture. It's not just one ad. It's not going to just be there for just one person to see.
And with a print ad, typically you want to include as much information as you can in the ad.
Yes.
And typically that's what we see a lot of. But in digital, like you said, think of the big picture. Like that storyline is constantly happening across different channels, different times, and you have opportunities to communicate that message over time. You don't have to do it all at once.
And because most of the time the ad's going to click through to a page where you can put all the information you want. So the driving factor is you just have to make it look good. You have to make it different. You can take risks because it's a digital platform. It's like I said, it's only going to live for a couple of days. You can take risks. And that's what's important.
And that's one of the advantages of digital is that you can try new things, and because of that, or you can do that because you have essentially instant feedback built into each of the channels.
A lot of flexibility, yes.
So like we post something on Facebook and instantly we know whether or not that design and that copy is engaging and whether it's having the effect we want it to have.
It's easily trackable. If you have one post that you post one day and it's getting all this feedback, a lot of likes and comments and shares, they're doing right. But then you maybe post something very similar with a different image and you can see that it's not as engaging. And you really got to sit down and, dissect that feedback and figure out what makes one post better than the other.
And we were talking a little bit earlier about just like this traditional process, which typically, takes time.
Yes.
And the digital process, which because of the nature of digital, we are able to create content today and post it today and get our feedback today. And because of that, you mentioned earlier to be quick. Like, don't sit on ideas,
Well,
especially when they're relevant, right?
You know, in this world, we have things going viral every day, and you can't wait a week if something's gone viral. If you want to jump on board, you got to get going and figure out the best way for your team or, you know, yourself to manage your time and get what needs to get out as fast as you can. And
because you have a format or a channel where things only last for a couple of days, it's okay if it's not perfect.
Right. Exactly. And if you make a mistake, you can delete it, which is nice. You can re-edit, re-upload. So I think the thing that drives the most results is taking those risks.
Within the brand guidelines, of course.
Yes, of course. Stay on brand, but take those risks.
And within the channel's guidelines. That should probably be the final point that we mention is that you mentioned a little bit earlier about advertising on Facebook and the 20% rule, but just in general, every network is going to have some sort of guidelines, right?
Yes. So it's become second nature for me because I do it so much. But if you aren't aware of, especially the Facebook guidelines for advertising, there's a limit for the amount of words that you can have on an ad. So you want to really have the strong imagery, making sure that your ads are going to be the most boosted and going to reach the biggest audience.
There you go. So Whitney, thank you for sharing with us on how to design for digital. If you have questions about how you should be designing for digital or just about designing in this day and age period, Whitney is going to be answering your questions on this video. So leave a comment, a question right below this video, and Whitney will get back to you with an answer right away. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you just watched, subscribe, then hit that bell. You'll be the first to be notified when new content goes live. After that, you can watch more videos from Slam Agency. We've picked something we think you'll love.